and more people getting loose of the cabin fever and getting a jump start on warmer month outdoor activities. This morning, Ansley Watson learning what to do to get prepared and equipped with the right gear. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Vicki. There is so many outdoor activities that you can do up here, but this morning we're going to talk about mountain biking. And before you hit those trails, to make sure that your mountain bike is up to par. This morning I'm standing inside of Quick Stop Bike Shop, and we're going to look at a whole entire bike, inspect it, and just kind of figure out some of those problems that you may want to fix before you hit the trails. So stay with us. Reporting live in Marquette, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Ansley. A timely one that we're getting today because the weather is starting to get really nice. Nicer weather means people are getting ready to get out there on their bikes, but before you should make sure everything is tuned up and ready to go. So Ansley is at Quick Stop Bike Shop telling us more about what you need to be inspecting. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Vicki. Well, if you're like me, you have absolutely no idea what to look at on a bike whenever you take it out for a ride. So joining me this morning is Eric Carlson. He's the owner here. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so like I told you earlier, my bike's in a shed. I just pulled it out.
Okay.
What are the first things I should look out for my mountain bike before I go riding?
Especially after the spring, it's always best to just have somebody look at it, so bring it into a shop. But the first thing I usually do when we pull it out of the shed in the spring, I just take it off the hook or roll it out. I like to squeeze the tires, see if there's still air in there, see if we can actually still ride it. And then I like to do a little drop test. Just drop it, see if that's going to show as anything that's loose. We'll loosen that quick release and do a little drop. So now it's making a little different noise. So that kind of gives us a good idea if something's loose. You can always grab the tires too, make sure there's no weird clunking. If we have a loose quick release or a hub, we'll see some pretty dramatic movement. That's always a good quick test to do. And then I always grab the brakes, make sure we're still going to be able to stop. And then I really honestly just look at your bike. And don't just kind of glance at it, but really start to look at it, make sure like when we put it away there's not a huge stick in it or something that we're going to pedal away and destroy our rear derailleur or something.
Now this
really
one
look at it.
actually has a spoke loose on it, which you can physically see, but you said sometimes you wouldn't even know that would be an issue. Yeah,
so sometimes we can ride a bike with a broken spoke for quite a while and not really notice it. This one we can actually spin the tire and you can hear it. So that came loose at a point where that spoke is actually going to be noticeable. Sometimes they can break here at the nipple and kind of just sit down in that rim, and we won't actually see that or hear that. And we can ride for quite a while, and when we ride with a spoke that's loose, we're kind of stressing the rest of the wheel, and pretty soon that whole wheel is going to get basically destroyed because all the other spokes are working a lot harder. So the sooner you can replace a broken spoke, the longer your wheel is going to last.
Talk about brake pads. I know sometimes you can feel it and you can start to hear if your brake pads go bad, but other times you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, yep. Brake pads are always something that it's really sometimes hard to tell what the life of your brake pads are. It's kind of the same as your car, right? Well, my car still stops, you know, maybe it takes longer, but the kind of the degradation of brake pads takes so long that we don't really notice. It's not something super quick. That all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. So we get used to it, right? It's okay, it takes a little bit longer now. So it's always good to either, if you know how to look at your brake pads or not, have somebody look at them. This is a good example of what a new brake pad would look like. And what we're looking at is the braking surface. So tons of brake here. This is what's actually going to push against our rotor, just like a car. And that's if we have, you know, hydraulic disc brakes. This one's totally gone. So this is going to start ruining your rotors and kind of costing you a lot more money in the long end.
Okay, well Eric, thank you so much. We'll have more information later in the hour. Stay with us. Reporting live in Marquette, Ansley Watson, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Ansley. With those tips, we'll be ready to roll in no time.
Yeah, it's crazy that little of a brake pad can stop your bike. Wow.
Quick Stop Bike Shop in Marquette is telling us this morning what needs to be inspected on bikes before we take them on trails. Ansley joins us again to show us more. Good morning, Ansley.
Good morning, Andrew. That's right. Eric Carlson with Quick Stop Bike Shop is joining us this morning. Hello.
Hello.
So you're helping us inspect a bike to make sure it's up to par to go out on the trails. We were learning some earlier. Let's continue. What else can you look at on your mountain bike to make sure that it's good to go?
Yeah, some of the stuff that that we look at when you bring your bike in for the spring. We look at kind of some stuff that maybe we missed in the fall because we rode into November and we just rode and then we started skiing or whatever. So we just kind of put it away. So we're going to pick on Tom's bike a little bit. So some of the stuff that we look at that maybe we might miss when we're just looking at our bikes at home is more preventative stuff. So when you get your bike and we have it fixed up for you, you're not going to end up being on the trail somewhere. So some of the stuff that we see, so we're having some cable housing issues here. We got a little kink, we got some housing that's worn out. So down the road, this is actually going to get really sticky and the shifting is not going to work. Potentially leaving Tom in a really stiff gear or something, just not having a good time. The other thing that we look at preventative-wise is Tom probably could use a fork overhaul. So fork overhaul is kind of a neat thing. It's like an oil change for your car. These uppers and lowers here are lubricated. There's bushings in here that need oil to be to work really well. So fork overhauls are recommended every 7,500-ish hours of riding. And the neat thing about a fork overhaul is it actually really improves the ride quality of the fork. So unlike an oil change where you can't really tell on your car,
you could tell.
You can tell, yeah. It totally improves the ride of the fork because we put new oil, new seals, new foam wipers, and it really brings that fork back to life. So yeah, spring tune-up stuff it's really kind of a preventative thing. So when you get your bike and you go for a ride, you're going to come back to your house with hopefully no issues.
Yeah, hopefully. When you go out, though, you should probably take a kit with you of tools to make sure, you know, if something happens on the trail, you can fix it yourself if need be. What do you suggest people take with them?
Yeah, it's always nice to have a multi-tool on hand, a pump, and a tube. So even if you're running like a tubeless setup, you still should have a tube with. Because sometimes we can slice a tire or something and we need to put that tube in there. So really basic tube, pump, multi-tool, and a quick link for our chain in case we snap a chain or something. That's usually going to get us out of the woods and back to the house or back to the bike shop to really fix the issue that happened. So, and then a little pack, like fanny packs are kind of cool now because they're really easy.
Fanny packs are so in right now.
Aren't they? Yep. So you grab your fanny pee and put your stuff in it. And that way you have all the stuff you need and you don't have to carry around a backpack if you don't want to. So
when people bring their bike in here just to get a tune-up, what can they expect from you guys here at Quick Stop?
Our tune-up start at $45. We basically put a wrench in every bolt, so it's kind of a good safety check. Adjust your derailleurs, brakes, and the kind of thing that maybe goes unsaid quite a bit is that we're having people that do this as a profession look at your bike and then actually look at everything. So it's stuff like this little piece of housing that we may not see as just somebody at their house doing stuff, but we see that right away. It kind of sticks out. So it's just like I said, it's a good preventative thing. So we're going to check it out.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about Quick Stop Bike Shop and just the start of mountain biking season?
The trails are great. We went out last night. We do a Tuesday night ride at 6:30. We leave from the back of the shop here. Trails were great. A couple wet spots, but really overall great conditions.
You're excited for the season, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Reporting live in Marquette, Ansley Watson, and we'll be back with more of your TV6 Morning News after the break.